From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the news at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Anne Waodo.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, plight of abducted pupils and teachers in Ogbomoso, Oyo State dominate proceedings in both chambers of the National Assembly as lawmakers call for urgent action to secure the swift rescue of the victims. Members of the Nigeria Union of Teachers, the Nigeria Labour Congress, and the National Association of Nigerian Students staged peaceful protest in Oyo State, asking authorities to intensify efforts towards the swift rescue of the abducted pupils and teachers. Independent National Electoral Commission INEC commences investigations into allegations of unauthorized access to its continuous voter registration database. And Israel continues its military operation in southern Lebanon, but refrains from striking Beirut following a partial ceasefire agreement with the Iran-backed armed group Hezbollah.
In on business, the Naira strengthens in the official markets, closing at 1,361 Naira against the US dollar.
On sports news tonight, Fulham defender Kevin Bassey joins the Super Eagles squad in Warsaw as team intensifies preparations for Wednesday night's clash against Poland's White Reds.
And from the nation's capital, Christian Association of Nigeria calls on the federal government to declare a state of emergency nationwide over the rising security challenges across the country.
We begin tonight at the Green Chambers, where the House of Representatives is calling for the speedy rescue of students kidnapped in Borno and Oyo State. This follows two motions of urgent importance, drawing the attention of the House to the dangers of delay in the rescue of the children and the teachers. Meanwhile, the minority leader of the House has resigned his position following his defection to the ruling All Progressives Congress. Our National Assembly correspondent Terry Ikumi reports.
The House of Representatives reconvenes after almost 5 weeks following conclusion of political parties' primaries. The result of the primaries is evidence from the letters of defection by members before the Speaker, one of which is from the minority leader who emerged as a ruling party's candidate for the 2027 governorship election in Rivers State. The Speaker clearly highlights the date on the letter.
I write to formally tender my resignation from the position of minority leader of the House of Representatives with effect from the date herein being 23rd day of April 2026. It has been a profound honor and privilege to serve in this capacity, representing the collective interest of the minority caucus and contributing to the legislative work of the House.
Representative Kingsley Chinda had been criticized for secretly joining the ruling party while maintaining his position as minority leader of the House as a member of the opposition People's Democratic Party. Consequently, following his defection, Representative Kingsley Chinda resigns his position as minority leader. Several other defections are recorded in the House, largely from one opposition party to another. As the House settles down to the business of the day, attention quickly shifts to the murder of a teacher and abduction of students in Oyo State.
The House is convinced that every day we delay implementing the adopted resolution will leave our people defenseless before an enemy that grows bolder, and that the same centralized Abuja commanding policing model that failed Michael Oyedeokun will fail the next teacher, the next people, and the next family, unless this House finds the courage to act now. Thus, the House resolves: 1. To recall with the full weight and urgency of this House on the federal government and all security agencies to bring our remaining sons and daughters and teachers home alive without further delay. For every hour lost is an hour in which we risk losing them forever.
Lawmakers also received and approved a similar motion on abduction of 42 students in Borno State.
The House resolved to 1. Urge the federal government and all relevant security agencies to take immediate and decisive action to rescue the 42 adopted school children from Musa Ward, Askira local government area, as well as other persons currently held in captivity, and reunite them with their families. The House called on the federal government to strengthen security around schools in Borno State and other vulnerable parts of the country.
In the meantime, the House is calling for vigilance against Ebola outbreak in the country and is urging port health authorities to intensify cross-border surveillance and checks to prevent infiltration of infected persons. Terry Ikumi, Channels Television News.
Another red chamber, the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has begun plans to launch the National Security Summit following the abduction of teachers and school children in Oyo State. Senator Akpabio, who spoke during plenary at the Senate resumed from the Sala and political party primary elections recess, directed the Senate leader, Senator Kweyemi Bamidele, to fix the date for the proposed National Security Summit, asserting that the upper chamber must engage in serious discussions aimed at finding lasting solutions to the country's security challenges. Our National Assembly correspondent Gloria Umezuki reports.
Fresh from a 3-week recess for the Sala and political party primary elections, lawmakers resumed legislative duties amid an atmosphere of mixed emotions. The President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, subsequently began by addressing lawmakers in his welcome speech on a solemn note.
The abduction of school children and teachers in Oyo State, this is not merely an attack on innocent citizens. It is an assault on our collective humanity. Today we grieve the loss of 2 dedicated educators, Mr. Michael Oyedoku, who died in captivity, and Mr. Adeshan Adeboye, who lost his life during the attack. We also mourn the child whose life was cut short before its promise could be fulfilled. Their collective loss is our loss. Their sorrow is our sorrow. Their pain is our pain. Yet, even in the midst of grief, we remain hopeful that through the determined efforts of this government, that those in captivity are rescued safely and reunited with their loved ones.
By the same token, the Senate President rekindled the subject of a national security summit.
I want to employ the leader of the Senate to quickly fix a date for us to conclude our security summit, which we have started in various states of the Federation, so that we can go into serious discussion and now have that security summit with a view to submitting our own views and resolutions and what we think we can do to further add strength to what the security services are doing.
A 1-minute silence is then observed.
And the souls of all departed rest in perfect peace.
Just as the Senate President cautioned lawmakers against taking advantage of the situation to score political points, he seized the moment to reassure serving senators who lost their party tickets. About 40 senators were currently affected.
I know that there will always be victories and disappointments. In this Senate, we have promised that we will have very few disappointments, and I do know that the Senate leader and the leadership of the Senate is working very hard towards that. So in advance, I will say congratulations to all of us across party lines.
Lawmakers subsequently resolved into a closed-door meeting, after which an ad hoc committee is constituted to address the issue of project execution and unpaid contractors across the country, to report back within 1 week. From the National Assembly, Gloria Umezuki, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the mood in Oyo State remained somber as hundreds of teachers, workers and students converged on the Oyo State's government secretariat in Agodi Bado in a peaceful protest over the abduction of pupils and teachers in Orire local government area of the state. They're demanding urgent action to secure their release. The protesters, led by the Oyo State chairman of the NUT, Comrade Fatai Hassan, Oyo NLC chairman, Comrade Kayode Martins, and the national president of NANS, Comrade Babatunde Akinteye, marched to the governor's office singing solidarity songs with placards. Our correspondent Bukola Oriowo reports.
Teachers from far and near gather once again for a peaceful protest which is now taking place simultaneously across the country. For many here, it's a moment of sober reflection about the security situation in the country as they call on the government to treat the Oriri abduction with the urgency it deserves to free the victims who have been in captivity for 19 difficult days. The leadership of the unions involving teachers converge on the NLC Secretariat from where they all walk to the seat of government, Agodi, where they are joined by the leadership of the National Association of Nigerian Students, NAN. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde and some of his cabinet members received the unions and assured them that injury to one is indeed injury to all.
This is a time of national distress.
Chairman of the NUT in Oyo State, Fatai Hassan, notes that the abduction has thrown affected communities into fear and uncertainty, insisting that the teachers across the state will not resume duties until the pupils and their colleagues regain their freedom. Other union leaders described the incident as unfortunate and unacceptable for a state regarded as one of the most peaceful in the country.
Teachers are running through emotional trauma. We are running through psychological trauma. Our lives are no longer safe in our classroom. We are calling on government, help us, put politics apart.
No life is safe, and safety must come first in every civilized world. That's what we are saying. Nobody's life is secure anymore in the country. It happens all over the country. We should all address it. All hands must be on deck by now.
It is time for government at all levels to work together, even to the level of the local government, to make sure that our people return back to classes.
Governor Makinde pleads with the protesters that the state government, in collaboration with security agencies and relevant stakeholders, is doing everything to secure the release of the abducted pupils and teachers.
Allow the government to see this through. I can give you the assurance that our children and their teachers, by the grace of God, will return safely.
He also asks Nigerians to remain united in the face of insecurity and warns against exploiting the situation for political gains.
In the meantime, please and please and please, it is time to unite to confront the challenges that we have and to bring back those children and our teachers.
Meanwhile, all public primary and secondary schools in Oyo State remain closed as the demonstration and protests continue in line with the NUT's national directive. Bukola Oyewu, Channels Television News.
And in part two, after the break, more protests rock other parts of the country on the abduction of pupils and teachers in Oyo and other parts of the country. Plus, Independent National Electoral Commission INEC commences investigations into allegations of unauthorized access to its continuous voter registration database. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. Plight of abducted pupils and teachers in Ogbomoso dominate proceedings in both chambers of the National Assembly as lawmakers call for urgent action to secure the swift rescue of the victims. Members of the Nigeria Union of Teachers, the Nigeria Labour Congress, and the National Association of Nigerian Students staged peaceful protests in Oyo State, asked authorities to intensify efforts towards the swift rescue of the abducted pupils and teachers. Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) commences investigation into allegations of unauthorized access to its continuous voter registration database. And Israel continues its military operation in southern Lebanon, but refrains from striking Beirut following partial ceasefire agreement with the Iran-backed armed group Hezbollah. Calls for the rescue of the abducted teachers and pupils in Oyo State have continued to gain momentum nationwide. In Ogun, Oyo, Lagos and Edo states, labor unions, teachers and civil society groups have staged solidarity protests demanding the immediate rescue of the victims and stronger measures to tackle insecurity in the country. Protest leaders insist that the protection of teachers, pupils and schools must remain top priority for the government.
Calls for the rescue of abducted teachers and pupils in Oyo State are growing louder across the country. In Abeokuta, the Nigerian Labour Congress, alongside affiliate unions, civil society organizations and teachers, staged a peaceful rally demanding swift action from the federal government and security agencies to secure the release of the victims and reunite them with their families. Protesters also called for a more effective security strategy to tackle the recurring threat of school abductions. In Lagos, demonstrators echoed the same demands, insisting that schools must remain safe spaces for learning and development. The protest strain also reached Edo State, where NUT members marched through major streets of Benin City in solidarity with their counterparts in Oyo, led by the NUT state chairman. The teachers condemned the May the 15th abduction and urged the federal government to intensify efforts to rescue the victims and strengthen security around schools nationwide.
We are calling on government to wake up. They must wake up to their responsibility. The responsibility of the government is to protect lives of government. But today, we don't know what's happening, and we are calling on government that they must be ready to secure the lives of our learners, secure the lives of teachers, and secure our learning environment. This is just the first of its kind. It's no threat, but we want to let government know that if no action is taken to ensure that our lives are secure, our learning environments are secure, we may have no option to do the needful.
In River State, teachers marched to the government house in Port Harcourt, demanding the immediate rescue of abducted teachers and students. The State Secretary of the Nigeria Union of Teachers, Basi Asukwo, stressed that schools must remain safe havens for learning and called on government and security agencies to prevent further attacks.
We weep today, we are angry today, but more importantly, we are here today to demand action. Your Excellency and distinguished authority, let it be known that what happened in Oyo State is not an isolated incident. We have seen similar acts of terror in Borno State. We have watched helplessly as schools, the temple of knowledge, are turned into theater of horror. And the question that haunts every teacher, every parent, every student in the country is this: who is next?
Responding, the Commissioner for Education, Dr. Peters Nwago, assured protesters of the state government's support for ongoing efforts to secure the victims' release and safeguard schools across River State.
Teachers don't deserve it. Students, children don't deserve this. We are aware that the federal government at the center is doing so much to ensure that these children and teachers are released and on time. And River State government is not resting. We are in support of what you are doing, and we are also
we are also assuring you that within the shortest possible time, these children will be relieved based on the effort of the federal government.
As pressure mounts across several states, labor unions, teachers and civil society groups say the safe return of the abducted victims remains non-negotiable, insisting that protecting schools, teachers and pupils must become a national security priority.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Union of Teachers in different states in the northern region have also joined their counterparts across the country to stage a peaceful protest over the abduction of teachers and students in Oyo State. The protesting teachers in the Federal Capital Territory, Adamawa, Taraba, Plateau and Kano states all carried placards with different inscriptions, chanting solidarity songs and marching through the streets, asking security agencies to expedite action for the release of the abducted victims.
Members of the Nigeria Union of Teachers across some states in the north and in the Federal Capital Territory have staged peaceful protest over the recent abduction of teachers and students in Oyo State. In Abuja, members of the Teachers Union gathered at the FCTA Secretariat demanding the immediate rescue of victims of recent school kidnappings. Addressing them, the FCT minister assured them that the federal government remained committed to ensuring the safe return of those in captivity.
All Nigerians are concerned about the security situation in the country. Whether we like it or not, the government is doing all it can to see that those who are kidnapped are being rescued. I have that confidence that the security system will do all they can to make sure the teachers and the students that are being kidnapped in Oyo State are being released unharmed.
In Adamawa State, the protesting teachers carrying placards with different inscriptions and chanting solidarity songs marched through major streets of Yola before stopping at the gate of the government house in Yola.
The continued abduction of learners and educators is a direct attack on education, our communities, and the future of our dear nation. On behalf of the Nigerian Union of Teachers Adamawa State Wing, I call on all relevant authorities and security agencies to intensify efforts towards securing the immediate and unconditional release of all those still in captivity.
In Plateau State, members of the Nigeria Union of Teachers, Plateau State Chapter, have called for the immediate rescue of teachers and pupils abducted in Oyo State, describing the incident as a threat to education in Nigeria. The teachers made the call during a peaceful protest in Jos as they joined colleagues across the country to demand the safe return of the victims.
We call on government and security agencies to simplify rescue the safe release of teachers and pupils and students abducted. They remain in captivity till now. We have also warned that teachers will not have any other option than to if the situation remains unresolved.
In Taraba State, members of the Nigeria Union of Teachers and students joined their counterparts across the country for the release of the abducted students and teachers in Oyo State. The students and teachers are also demanding that the government should live up to its responsibility by providing adequate security for schools across the country.
We are in communication with traditional rulers, with local government chairmen, to beef up securities in all our local government to ensure that our schools, our teachers, and our children are safe.
The Kano State Union of Teachers took their protest to the office of the Secretary to the state government while making their plea to President Bola Tinubu for the freedom of their children and teachers taken from their school premises. The NUT says it will continue to pursue lawful means to ensure the safe return of abducted teachers and students while advocating for safer learning environments across the country.
And away from security matters, President Bola Tinubu has returned to Abuja after spending the Eid al-Kabir holiday in Lagos. The president, whose plane touched down at the presidential wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, at exactly 5:17 p.m., was received by senior government officials. While in Lagos for the holiday, the president received the Vice President Kashim Shettima and several groups for the traditional Saleh homage. He also attended the International Fleet Review of Eco-Atlantic City Waterfront as part of activities commemorating the 70th anniversary of the Nigerian Navy. The president also received the President of the Republic of Benin in a meeting that reinforced the long-standing bond between both neighboring countries. We'll continue the nation's capital now as we head over there for Terry Ikumi, who's standing by to bring us more. Over to you, Terry.
Well, many thanks, Anne. The Christian Association of Nigeria has called on the federal government to declare a state of emergency on insecurity across the country, warning that the escalating wave of killings, abductions, terror attacks, and community displacement now pose a serious threat to national stability. The position was presented by the president of the association, Archbishop Daniel Oko, at the National Church Denominational Leaders Summit held in Abuja. Our correspondent Benny Ark reports.
The National Church Denominational Leaders Summit has brought together top Christian leaders in Abuja under the theme, The State of the Nation and the Way Forward, with deliberations focusing on rising insecurity, humanitarian challenges, and national unity. The CAN president said the summit was convened in response to what he described as a deepening national emergency.
Participants noted with particular concern the abduction of school children and teachers, attacks on farming communities, continued terrorist activities in parts of the Northeast, and the spread of kidnapping and violent crime into areas previously considered relatively safe.
Data from the National Human Rights Commission shows that 492 people were killed and 651 kidnapped in the first quarter of 2026, with the North Central, Northwest, and Northeast reporting the highest incidents. Most recently, on May 15, 2026, government stormed schools in a community in Oyo State, abducting pupils and staff. Official confirmations indicate at least 39 students and 7 teachers were taken in the attack, prompting widespread condemnation. In the face of these developments, the CAN president reiterated the need for urgent government action, including a state of emergency on security across the country.
CAN condemns in the strongest terms the barbaric acts of murder, beheading, torture, rape, abduction, and forced displacement being perpetrated against innocent citizens, and calls on the federal government to declare a state of emergency on security across the country.
He also declared a 3-day national period of mourning beginning June 12, 2026, in honor of victims of violence across the country.
CAN declares Friday, June 12, 2026, as the commencement of a 3-day period of national mourning to continue through Sunday, June 14, 2026. CAN further designates Sunday, June 14, 2026 as Black Sunday across churches in Nigeria in honor of victims of violence and in solidarity with families affected by insecurity.
The summit ended with a renewed call for unity among tiers of government, security agencies, faith leaders, and citizens to address the rising wave of insecurity and restore peace across the country. Benny Ark, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Naira strengthens in the official foreign exchange market, closing at 1,361 Naira against the US dollar. That's on Business News. We'll stay with us.
ChannelsTV.com has more information on our top stories and others. Subscribe and watch Channels Television's live stream on YouTube and other social media platforms using your mobile device browser, or download the Channels TV app for Android and iOS devices from their respective stores. You can also watch us via your smart TV platforms on Apple TV, Android TV, Fire TV, and Roku. Channels Television. Ubiquitous.
Welcome back to the news at 10. Now, Nollywood actor Mr. Emeka Ike has declared his readiness to pursue legal action against media aid to the FCT minister, Mr. Lere Olayinka, following allegations surrounding the public exposure of his personal data, allegedly accessed from the Independent National Electoral Commission portal. Mr. Ike, who once contested for the House of Representatives seat in the Amak Buhari federal constituency under the Nigerian Democratic Congress but was unsuccessful, has found himself at the center for growing controversy tied to voter information disclosure. The controversy erupted after Olayinka, aide to FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, faced public criticism over a post shared on X, where he reportedly revealed details suggesting Ike had earlier registered as a voter in Imo State before transferring his registration to the Federal Capital Territory on the 15th of May. The post was accompanied by screenshots believed to be sourced from an INEC administrative interface containing sensitive personal identifiers such as Ike's application number, polling unit details, voter identification number, passport photograph, full name and registration date. Speaking during an interview on the Morning Brief, Ike strongly condemned the publication, describing it as an unacceptable breach of privacy.
It's quite shocking and an extreme, it's the height of political rascality.
Hello? For a government officer to access a citizen's information from the INEC cyber, it tells you a lot. It shows how much impunity we have flying around there, and people have access to the things that they shouldn't be having access to. And that's quite deplorable. And I see that as a huge insult and slap on every political party and every Nigerian. That he's telling every Nigerian, look, whoever you are, I can pull your information from anywhere and I can do what I want. And that rascality needs to be stopped. Are you going to take any action against him?
Actions are ready. I'm ready to take him on. He has no right to expose my privacy. He has no right to insult Nigerians the way he did. If he's been doing it in the past, this should be the last time he does it.
Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission says it has begun investigation into allegations of unauthorized access and disclosure of information from its continuous voter registration database. The Commission stated this in a statement signed by the National Commissioner and Chairman of Information and Voter Education Committee, Mr. Mohammed Haruna. The said investigation followed a social media report that claimed access to the database of registered voters and information of political parties' candidates. According to the statement, while INEC's preliminary findings showed no evidence of an external cyber attack, the Commission takes the allegations seriously. Now, tension continues to brew in Warri federal constituency over the delineation of wards carried out by INEC, as the Ijaw and Urobo protesters have taken their protests to the premises of the Independent National Electoral Commission office in Asaba Delta State, demanding the immediate implementation of the Supreme Court-ordered delineation of the Warri federal constituency. The protesters asked INEC to upload the results presented onto their platform, warning that the electoral body should be held responsible for any breakdown of law and order or disruption of oil and gas operations in the Niger Delta if it fails to act on the final report it presented on the 20th of May.
Nearly 2 weeks after INEC unveiled the final report of the Supreme Court-ordered fresh delineation of the Warri federal constituency, Ijaw and Urobo protesters have taken their grievances to the Commission's Delta State headquarters in Asaba. Men men, women, and some young protesters expressed disappointment that implementation of the report, which includes the creation of new electoral wards and additional state constituencies in Warri North and Warri Southwest, is yet to commence, despite assurances by INEC officials during the presentation.
The Jaws and Robo people of Warri Federal constituency are shocked that almost 2 weeks after INEC presented its final report, the implementation of the report has not started as promised by INEC.
The protesters alleged that external interference may be responsible for the delay, insisting the Commission must immediately upload the final delineation report to its official portal and proceed with the creation of the approved wards and constituencies ahead of the 2027 general elections.
We are asking INEC now to upload the report so that we can into their cyber so that we can go on with the process. We, the Jaws people of Warri, condemn in the strongest terms the failure of INEC to start the immediate implementation of the final report of the Supreme Court order fresh delineation of Warri Federal constituency of Delta State.
The protesters further cautioned against any attempt to alter the final report and called on the electoral umpire to act swiftly to prevent avoidable tension in the region.
NSA don't conduct delineation. DSS don't conduct delineation. And this is going to be the last time that we are going to answer any invitation from the NSA and the DSS on this delineation matter. Enough is enough.
After presenting their brief, an INEC official received their written request for onward transmission to the appropriate quarters.
I hereby formally present to you, as the head of departments, of one of the departments, INEC Delta State Office. Congratulations.
This protest is the latest in the series of agitations by the Ijaw and Urhobo people. They say their demand is simple, which is that full implementation of the report as presented must begin immediately to guarantee effective participation in the 2027 elections.
Well, that's all from the nation's capital. Back to Anne in Lagos for the rest of the news.
Thank you, Terry. The federal government has called for greater collaboration among African navies to ensure a credible maritime defense framework that fortifies the security of the continent. The Minister of State for Defense, Dr. Bello Matawalle, made this call at the opening of the 2026 Sea Power for Africa Symposium, which held in Lagos. Speakers at that event also highlighted the critical role of the maritime sector in Africa's economic growth, its security and sustainable development. Our senior correspondent, Shola Shirley, reports.
Hours after it hosted its colorful International Fleet Review as part of activities marking its 70th anniversary, the leadership of the Nigerian Navy, other naval leaders across the world, Coast Guards, defense ministries, policymakers, industry experts locally and internationally, gathered in this hall in Lagos for the Sea Power for Africa Symposium 2026. The symposium, which holds biennially on the African continent, had the theme, Leveraging Technology for Enhanced Maritime Security in Africa. In his welcome address, the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Idi Abbas, noted that unprecedented advancements in technology presents opportunities and challenges, and a need for synergy among navies and other law enforcement.
Like any powerful instrument, advanced technologies can be subverted by non-state actors who may exploit them for illegal purposes and criminal enterprises, even within our maritime domains. Together, we are called to forge pathways that will create safer seas across Africa and decisively curtail the capacity of those who seek to disrupt the order and security of our waters.
The keynote speaker, Minister of State for Defense, Dr. Bello Matawalle, who described the Navy as steadfast guardians of international commerce and economic stability for the role they play in safeguarding critical sea lines, made a case for greater collaboration, especially among African navies.
The transnational and interconnected nature of maritime threat present formidable challenge which often transcend the capacity of individuals, nations, or navies to address independently. It is therefore imperative to recognize the significance of collaboration initiative amongst African navies and beyond.
A high-level panel of experts spoke on issues of innovative surveillance technologies for improved maritime domain awareness.
Despite the strategic importance of our waters, African navies face significant surveillance challenges. And these challenges are as a result of the vast exclusive economic zones, the limited patrol assets we have, and the increasing maritime security threats.
The tools that can give African navies eyes across the vast ocean spaces are accessible today, many at low and no cost.
The expectation is that these stakeholders' deliberation will develop strategies that fully harness the positives of technology while mitigating the risk in securing the maritime space. Shola Shoyele, Channels Television News.
And to health matters now, Nigeria is ready to face the Ebola virus outbreak head-on should there be any case of it in the country. That's the assurance coming from the Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Isiaka Salako, at the World Health Expo holding from today, June the 2nd to Thursday, June the 4th in Lagos. The expo brought together over 500 exhibitors from over 40 countries, connecting health investors to shape the future of healthcare in Africa and the world. Our correspondent, Amarachi Ubani, reports.
This happens only once a year and is known as the biggest health sector participation in the world. President, Healthcare Federation of Nigeria, Mrs. Njide Ndile, sets the stage for the conversations that will be holding side by side the exhibition.
We keep talking and talking and talking. Some of us have been in this room several times over the last few years. But what advancements have we made? I can tell you that a lot is happening in the background. And at some point, what we expect is that the ball will really start rolling very fast.
Strengthening medical trade across West Africa is the overarching theme of the expo. And for the Lagos State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Akin Abayomi, bringing the biggest medical technologies to Nigeria would further drive its goal for affordable healthcare for citizens.
Public-private partnerships are key. As you just heard, Lagos governments are to focus their attention on policy, on regulation, on public protection, and on standards. And that's what I believe that we should focus our attention on.
The keynote speech is delivered by the Special Regional Representative for West Africa and Africa CDC, Professor Aliko Ahmed. He thinks Nigeria is in good stead to becoming a quality manufacturing hub in Africa. He wants the focus to change from the wrong to the right.
We hope its Nigerian manufacturing capabilities can become a big market for West Africa and the African region as a whole.
Though he speaks to the advantages of the expo on the podium when he addresses journalists later, the Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Isiaka Salako, speaks about Nigeria's preparedness for the current Ebola outbreak in the DRC.
We issued a protocol from the Office of the Coordinating Minister of Health. That protocol aligns nationwide what are the surveillance systems that we need to put in place. How do we check people who are coming into the country at the points of entry? What are the port health system needs to do? What is expected of subnational governments? What preposition materials that we need to put in place?
Participants of the expo are excited about the possibilities the exposure means for their businesses and for healthcare in the country.
We're back to the roots. Expo would expose our people to made in Nigerian stuff.
We are looking for some distributors now. So that is the reason we are here in this show, having a booth and looking to connect with some companies, some distributors through which we can supply our products in here.
There will be more conversations and networking over the next few days, the fruit of which will be realized in the months to come. Amarachi Ubani, Channels Television News.
Let's delve into the world of business now, where Willie Bong is standing by. Thank you, Anne.
Now, the naira has appreciated against the U.S. dollar, closing the Nigerian foreign exchange market NFM session at 1,361 naira 5 kobo per dollar. That's June the 2nd, 2026. And the latest figure shows a stronger finish compared to previous trading levels, reflecting improved sentiment and relatively steady dollar supply in the official market. Data from the CBN indicates continued stability in the FM window, with exchange rates trading within a tight range during the session. Analysts say the movement points to cautious gains for the naira, supported by ongoing liquidity management and FX market interventions. Now, outside our shores, U.S. President Donald Trump has proposed a 25% tariff on imports from Brazil in a move that could heighten trade tensions between both countries. The proposal is aimed at protecting American industries and addressing what the administration calls unfair trade practices. Brazil is a key supplier of goods such as agricultural products and industrial materials to the United States, and analysts warn the tariff could disrupt trade flows and increase costs for businesses. Let's head back home to the domestic equities market, which sustained negative performance for a second straight day. Yes, Ini John Mekwa with more.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the stock market report. Seems like it's going to be a really green June because for the second day, we see the market closing in the red. Today, profit taking was even more aggressive. Almost 2 trillion naira, 1.95 trillion naira is what investors took out from the market. So we lost the 160 trillion naira level. We're now 158.302 trillion naira. Of course, that reflects right here. We see this has gone down further from 247 to 246. And the oil share is down 0.35%. Major contributors to this, you won't believe it, they're not the big names that you would know. There's CWG, there's PZ, and then there's Zikis. They are the ones who face most of the profit taking today, but there's still some gainers at the end of it. Intergens and Trans-Nationwide Express, and Living Trust. They had a little bit of gains. But at the end of the day, we still have the bear for the second day this month.
Thank you, Ini. Let's see the closing performance for other major stock markets as global oil prices fell today. And that's business news. And Will Ibang is back to Anne now.
Thank you, Will. Let's now go outside our shores and join Simon Pusey for more international news and around the world in 5 from our London studio.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. A Russian missile and drone attack have killed at least 18 people across Ukraine overnight, including 2 children, marking one of Moscow's largest assaults in recent months. An 8-year-old boy and a woman pulled from the rubble in an apartment block were among 12 killed in Dnipro, according to officials. In the capital, Kyiv, 6 people were killed. Russia's defense ministry said the strikes had been in response to previous Ukrainian attacks, saying in a statement that the strike objectives had all been achieved. The Kremlin said on Tuesday it was carrying out the systematic strikes it had pledged after accusing Kyiv of a deadly attack on a student dormitory in an occupied part of eastern Ukraine in late May. President Volodymyr Zelensky said civilian infrastructure and energy facilities had been targeted across the country, with more than 100 people injured.
Our intelligence services' warnings about massive Russian strikes remain in force. A large-scale strike may happen. They have prepared it. Our defenders of the sky are on standby 24/7 as much as possible with the supplies we have.
Clashes have continued in southern Lebanon despite Israel and Hezbollah accepting a US plan for a partial ceasefire. President Donald Trump said on Monday that he had spoken to both sides and they had agreed that all shooting will stop, after Iran warned Israeli military actions in Lebanon were a threat to a US-Iran ceasefire. Lebanon said Hezbollah had accepted the plan for it to halt attacks on Israel and for Israel not to attack the Lebanese capital Beirut. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu confirmed the agreement, but he said strikes on Beirut would go ahead if Hezbollah does not stop attacking our cities and civilians, and that Israeli forces would still operate in South Lebanon. While the ceasefire appears to be largely holding, there was further violence overnight.
Most of the escalation has been targeting civilian centers, the city of Tyre, villages in South Lebanon, and historical sites like the video mentioned, the Beaufort Castle, or what we like to call in our indigenous language, the Sha'if fortress. But the introduction of the FPV drones, especially with the addition of the night vision today, has been driving the Israeli commanders crazy. They can't do anything about it. They can't stop it. This has been a major strategic shift on the battleground.
2 people have been shot dead in the central Kenyan town of Nanyuki amid protests against US plans to establish an Ebola isolation center at a military base nearby. One of the victims was shot in the area close to the Laikipia air base, where a demonstration was taking place. He died after being brought to the town's hospital by friends. The other victim was already dead when he was taken to the hospital by soldiers. The circumstances of their deaths are not clear, and officials have not commented on the matter. A huge explosion has occurred at a fireworks factory in Naxar in Malta. 2 men who had been in nearby fields at the time of the incident were taken to hospital with minor injuries, while all licensed workers connected to the premises have since been accounted for, with none having been on the site at the time. Large plumes of smoke could be seen rising towards the sky following the huge explosions. An inquiry is being conducted, and Prime Minister Robert Abela said his thoughts were with those affected.
To you, Forky, to Karen Beverly, to be your beloved bride. Yeah!
And the US actor Tom Hanks has said the latest Toy Story film highlights children's addiction to screens, an issue that he says strikes terror in the heart. The 5th installment of the animated franchise sees Woody, Buzz and Jessie threatened by a new frog-like tablet known as Lilypad, which captivates the film's children.
Oh, extinction! Not again!
Hanks said the cast related to the storyline because they had all met that disinterest of young people who look down at their phone. Toy Story 5, released later this month, sees Hanks, Tim Allen and Joan Cusack return to their roles, voicing Woody, Buzz Lightyear and Jessie.
We're finding more abandoned toys each day.
We're down! Tech's invaded our house, too.
I don't know, Jessie. Toys are for play, but tech is for everything.
Here's how we can all protect ourselves from tech. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready. Tom Hanks' message.
Put it down. Turn it off. Do something else.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has reiterated the need for a foreign coaching crew by the Nigeria Squash Federation to improve the techniques of the country's squash players. He made the call in Abeokuta while playing host to the new board members of the Nigeria Squash Federation, led by its president at his presidential library home in the state capital. The former president also stressed the need for more facilities to train and develop the interest of the sports in the country. And Super Eagles head coach Eric Schell has welcomed energetic defender Calvin Bassey to the team's camp in Warsaw ahead of tomorrow's international friendly encounter against the White Reds of Poland. Bassey's arrival brings the number of players in camp to 20, and with a good balance of personnel across the sectors of the pitch. His arrival is a big boost for Shell, with the Fulham defender able to partner motivated Shemi Ajayi in the center and Igor Ubu and Emmanuel Fernandez. Coach Shell says his players must go into tomorrow's game with a winning mentality against the Polish side. And the informed Marta Kościuk held a nerve to withstand a comeback from compatriot Elena Svitolina in the first. That sports is back to you, Anne.
Thank you, Chris. And the main news again. Plight of abducted pupils and teachers in Ogbomosho, Oyo State dominated proceedings in both chambers of the National Assembly today as lawmakers called for urgent action to secure the swift rescue of the victims. Members of the Nigeria Union of Teachers, the Nigeria Labour Congress and the National Association of Nigerian Students today staged a peaceful protest in Oyo State, urging authorities to intensify efforts towards the swift rescue of the abducted pupils and teachers. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwawadu. Good night and please stay safe.